What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the G-Red Show. I'm G-Red. It just seems like Barcelona lately has a knack of finding themselves in the headlines for world football, but for all the wrong reasons. They claim that they're going to make these big transfers like Nico Williams, and they can do this and that. They don't come through. There's so many back and forths. They're just embarrassing themselves in so many different ways. And if this happens for Barcelona, this is just so embarrassing. It's just like the Vitor Roque situation. So we're going to break this down and discuss what Barcelona is doing right now and how badly this is going to affect them if this actually happens regarding Gundogan and Frenkie de Jong. We could also briefly touch on the match against Valencia, but I feel like there's a lot more pressing matters we have to discuss, so we're going to break that down first. If you guys haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Now let's jump in and analyze everything that's going on with Barcelona right now. So I'm actually reading this directly from Fabrizio Romano, so we know that it's factual. Man City have made contact with İlkay Gündoğan's camp over a potential return to the club. City and Pep are open to consider his comeback. Barca wants Gundogan to leave, and he also received approaches from Qatar, Saudi, and more clubs. How on earth do you sign him on a free transfer and allow him to leave the next season? Last year, he was literally, I think he played every single match. So not only is he one of the oldest players, but he was one of the most consistent in terms of just being healthy and playing every match. And then he was, in terms of productivity, was one of the most productive and consistent players too. And you want to now allow him to leave. And especially after you signed Flick, who coached him on the national team and is German as well. But I also read from another source that Flick does think he's going to stay. And after Barcelona's match, Gundogan tweeted supporting Barcelona. So the whole situation is weird, but seeing this from Fabrizio is not good. And all I can say is if Barcelona allows him to leave and he leaves this season, it's just as bad as the Vitor Roque situation. It's almost worse in some ways because he's such an impactful player, whereas Vitor Roque, we don't know, he doesn't really play. So at least it's no harm, no foul in terms of like, oh, we're losing a very productive player. But this, we're losing a lot, especially with Fermin Lopez being extremely young and inexperienced, Gavi coming off his injury, Pedri's going to get injured off and on the whole season. Who knows what's going on with Frenkie de Jong, and then Dani Olmo, if he gets injured, right? He's had some injury spells, so this is just, it looks terrible for Barcelona, to be completely honest. And people already are making fun of Barcelona, and they got rejected from Nico, they're broke, this and that, they're not good anymore. This just adds more fuel to the flame, and we cannot allow this to happen. I don't think I have anything else to even add to this. This just cannot happen. This would be a huge loss for the club. Now, next is Frenkie. It's so frustrating because I love his talent and I'm a huge fan of his abilities, but the productivity isn't always there. But this whole situation right now just seems very fishy to me because he's reluctant to sign a new contract. He wants to negotiate as a free agent in 2026 when his contract ends with Barcelona. And then it seemed like, up until like a day or two before the Euro started, he was all set to play. Then apparently he's too injured to play. But you would think, okay, he should be fine to start for Barcelona in the beginning part of the season. Well, now it looks like he's not even going to play for at least another month, maybe two. He's the highest paid player in Europe, which yes, we understand that some of this is back pay, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem like he wants to be here. And I think under Flick, he could be beneficial. And regardless who the manager is, you need him in there because until they find an actual replacement, I get it. Bernal and Casado, I think, have incredible potential, but they're still so inexperienced and don't have the experience on this big stage yet, where I think you need Frenkie de Jong until they can fully develop. So, and on top of that, if you lose Gundogan, you cannot lose Frenkie de Jong too. Because then you're working with two Barcelona young La Masia players in Bernal and Casado. Pedri is always injured. Fermin Lopez is still very young and inexperienced. Who knows if Dani Olmo will stay healthy. Gavi's coming off the injury, so that cannot happen. There's not a chance in the world. But I'm at the point now with Frenkie de Jong where if he's just going to continue to hold out on contract renewals and say he's injured, I just don't see how he's still hurt. That injury was like 3 months ago. I don't understand. Maybe it was way worse than we saw. But if he keeps holding out, not renewing his contract, if I'm Barcelona, I'm taking that personally. And it feels like he just doesn't want to be here. Like Cruyff, I believe it was Cruyff, right? He said, if someone doesn't want to play for Barcelona, then we do not need them. We want the players that want to be here. And this just doesn't seem like he wants to be here. So whether that's true or not, I feel like he doesn't completely want to be here. If he wanted to, it seems like he'd be rushing and doing everything he can to rejoin the squad and renew his contract at Barcelona. Those are my thoughts about those two players in this situation. So let me know what you guys think about that down below. Now, two quick pieces of side note before we jump into a little bit of the analysis of the first match. Ferran Torres, obviously, he's got to go. It is what it is. But I just read something that Newcastle's apparently putting together a very enticing offer for him. Now, who knows when that might be, if that's going to actually happen. But even if it's 30, 40 million, sell him, get him off the wage bill, and just cut your losses, move on, because he's not beneficial. I don't even know how he's in the squad. You would never think someone of that caliber is playing and starting for Barcelona. And yes, I understand the circumstances. There were quite a few players that couldn't play in the first match, so it made sense that he played, but they got to get rid of him. End of story. It also looks like Joao Felix will be joining Chelsea on a 6-year deal. Now, I know this doesn't really impact Barcelona because I think we knew he wasn't going to rejoin on a loan, but I like him. I think he's got a lot of potential and skill, and I'm happy that he found a home, to be completely honest, and hopefully he excels in Chelsea. Personally, I think La Liga or maybe Serie A is the best suited for his play style. I don't think he's going to be that successful playing in the Premier League due to the nature of the way they play, but I'm happy for him nonetheless, and hopefully he performs well. Barcelona is also playing Athletic Club this weekend. If they lose that match, just imagine the headlines. Nico Williams scams Barcelona and then beats them in their second match of the season. Just imagine the press, the titles, the criticism Barcelona is going to get if they don't beat Athletic Club. I mean, this is a must-win game. This is actually an incredibly important match. They have to win. I still will never understand why Nico Williams would not join Barcelona. It makes absolutely no sense. But if they beat Barcelona, I'm going to stay off of social media for a few days because I feel like I'm just going to get so mad and frustrated. So let me know what you guys think about that too, and if Barcelona's going to win. Now, briefly, in terms of the match against Valencia, unfortunately, I actually couldn't really watch the match. I was traveling this weekend. My best friend was getting married. His wedding was actually at the same time that the match started, so I only could watch like bits and pieces. I wasn't able to really watch the entire match and analyze it completely like I usually am able to do. I actually can't give an honest representation of what I saw, but from watching what I did see, the highlights, and then reading everything that I saw, obviously Ferran Torres was not good. But I read that Koundé was great and Casado was great. Bernal obviously has more of a resemblance, I think, to Busquets. 17, right? Still extremely young and has never played at this level before. I think he was fine from what I saw, but they're only going to grow those two, so I'm fine with that. Rafinha, I thought for the most part was pretty good, but the fact that Rafinha, at least from the lineup, he was playing in the midfield is crazy to me. That just shows how much Barcelona has to rein in with these injuries and get the right players in the right spots. But those were some of my big takeaways. Now, lastly, obviously, Lewandowski, 2 goals. I read a lot of criticism that he wasn't particularly playing well, but at the end of the day, if he's scoring 2 goals per week, heck, even a goal a match, as much as I want to see him play better, press better, get more involved in the play, if he's scoring, at least he's scoring. So I'm not going to say anything bad about him yet. Obviously, it's the first match. We'll see if he can continue. But a victory in your first match, he's got 2 goals. And then on top of that, Real Madrid tied Mallorca. It's a win-win-win across the board. So let me know your thoughts about the match as well, because I actually want to know specifically what you guys saw since I wasn't able to really watch much of it. Now, I will say, I think moving forward, I want to start doing some live streams for Barcelona's matches, so make sure to tune into that. We can watch the matches together, talk about everything together. That's going to be exciting, so stay tuned. Probably next Saturday is when we're going to start doing that, so make sure you guys jump in and tune into that. But I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching this video. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support, everyone, and I hope to see you guys back here next time on the G-Red Show.